If you've been listening to this show long enough, you know how strongly I feel about, well, one, who our guest is today, but also the foundation. Eh, I'm all about getting kids out in the water, having them fish with their families, making memories, rod in hand, and learning everything cool about this sport. And I can't say enough about the Kids Can Fish Foundation because that's what they do. They provide the gear, education, fishing camps, mentorship, and opportunities for the kids who might otherwise never get the experience a day on the beach with a rod. The running of the Bulls tournament that just happened, it helps fund that program. And we'll talk about that in the episode. But they operate year round and they rely on people just like you to keep the mission going. If you want to support, volunteer, donate, or learn more, head over to kidscanfish.net. And every dollar you spend, it helps put a kid on the water, and that's something I'm fully behind supporting, and I hope all of you will be too. So, Kids Can Fish Foundation, kidscanfish.net. Go take a look. We're going to get into the episode. Here we go. Man, I messed up. I didn't get to use the cool new intro. Oh, so if you're listening to it, it was no different. But if you're watching, you saw there was something different. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. Things have been going very well for you. It is in the fun winter time that this episode is being recorded. We're in that slow time of fishing. This is that time for the gear reset, relearn, and learn about new people and new things. And we're going to turn the dial back a little bit. We're going to go back into October. And we're going to talk with Tom tonight from Kids Can Fish. We're going to talk a lot of things. Of course, we're going to talk about the tournament. We're going to talk about the foundation, talk about the future. There's some really, really cool things that are coming. I've only heard a little bit about it. And yeah, it's going to be good. So without further ado, welcome back, buddy.
Hey, Demo. Hey, one thing you said that's a different intro, but man, it was like going home. It's so good to have you back. It's so good to have you back.
I have missed this. I cannot tell you. I mean, we talked about it on the
We have
beach,
too.
and I have truly, truly missed this. Yeah. To to give you guys something funny here. So Tom and I in the recent tournament, uh, we had some great time sitting out in very unfriendly rain and
A
wind.
little chilly.
Uh, it was worse than that Sunday snap the year before.
Oh yeah,
That
easily.
Sunday snap was crazy, but this year I was like, oh, waiters, yes, please.
Your umbrella was the MVP.
That, that
You're
was
like,
really
get under here. I'm like, okay.
the only thing we needed was like a space heater or just like a little propane one, and we'd have just been like, we're fine, thanks,
Hey,
have a great day.
we snuggled up. The two big guys, we got warm enough.
We were all right. That was a
That
great time.
umbrella was blocked that wind and that little sprinkle we had. Yeah.
Oh, that wind was real this year too. That morning, what
Mhm.
was that, 20? Easily 20.
Easily 20 knots.
Ugh. So if you guys haven't been to St. Simon's area, and you're on the water, if you've ever beach fish, open air, open water, wind like that, it hurts. But throw it in with right off the Atlantic and gosh, a borderline nor'easter, and you just get a perfect line for just this is gonna suck. And it didn't. It was
Mhm.
an awesome tournament. It was like, holy crap, this worked out great.
Record numbers. We caught the most fish in our 2-day tournament this year than any of them. And the weather was, well, Saturday was rough, really rough. Sunday
Yeah.
was much, much better.
Yeah. The only thing that kind of mad about Sunday, I would say the sticks, the grass that magically popped up out of the
Mhm.
rivers and out of the front side. That was the only like, how did this happen? But seeing all the groups and everything, it seems like the June grass it's been a problem everywhere this year. It's still
Yeah,
sticking around.
right. Even in the panhandles, really bad, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Justin was from Justin Reed Fishing. I was talking with him about it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm still having to find spots." So it's ugh.
And not just hunting clean water, hunting where you don't have grasses in the water. That's nuts.
Yeah. So if this is your first time listening to the show, welcome. We do these all the time. They're great, and I am very fortunate that I can convince and con Tom to come on because we can. If you guys ever like, we were doing pre-show and we were talking for almost 20 minutes pre-show, because him and I can just do that. We can have a
I don't know.
conversation for hours very easily. But let's back into this. So if you never heard of Kids Can Fish, Tom, tell us about it. What is Kids Can Fish Foundation and what's the mission behind it?
Kids Can Fish it's exactly what it is. It's getting kids outdoors, spending time with family, friends, getting away from the technology world that we're in, getting kids connected to the world that we experienced when we were younger. And we find that when we get these kids at these fishing camps, we see them not dependent on electronics, getting along with kids of different backgrounds, different races, different financial, capabilities with their families. They're just kids enjoying the experience. We fundraise throughout the year to make our fishing camps happen. They're all free for the families that attend. We average anywhere between 7 and 10 a year. We'll go into that a little bit later. They're 100% free for everybody to attend, and it's almost become like a calling. I think this thing just found me through my daughter. She came up with the concept almost 6 years ago. Um, we launched this little thing through a concept that she called Girls Can Fish, which slowly morphed into Kids Can Fish. And then when people want to contribute and help you, obviously being a nonprofit helps. So we turned it into a nonprofit pretty quickly. Learning that this is what we do. We're doing kids fishing camps and clinics from everything from surf fishing at high levels to dock camps, pond camps, cast net camps, anything related to fishing. We pretty much can get involved in as long as we have a body of water to do that.
One of the things that I think people are, at least the times I've had a couple conversations with people like, do you really get to keep the gear? It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's all there. This is all in one learning experience, and you're getting teach. And the other cool part I loved, especially when we did the panhandle one, you got people out there helping and teach along the way. It's
Yeah.
not just here's the gear, figure it out. You got people working with you.
Yeah, the big thing I get was why do you give such an expensive piece of equipment away? Like the surf rods that we give away, they average MSRP from the store shelf 160 to $180 for the combo. I can tell you that wasn't always the way. Our second camp that we held at Janung's fish camp in Crescent Beach, I think we paid $7 a rod that Captain Morley helped us out with. And like that, we were like, wow, that's a big deal. We just spent $260 today, like on a camp. Now we're spending close to $10,000 a camp. Um, it's changed the way we do things, and our goal is if we're going to put a piece of equipment in a kid's hand, we want it to not be something that's going to break on their next trip out, that they're going to get the longevity with. We talk about the care and upkeep of that equipment because that's a big piece even for the adults, because we want to take a cost barrier away from the parents. If we provide them the quality of equipment and tell them how to do the fishing that we're doing, when the kid says, hey, I want to go, the answer should be pretty easy, yes, because all you got to do is find the body of water and maybe buy a little bait.
Yeah, that kind of ties into something we were talking about pre-show. You've gotten how many messages about people talking about, well, what kind of gear do I need? What do I need to buy? What do I need to do? It's
That's
it's really
probably
not crazy.
other than camps fill so fast, how do we get in the camps? Or when's the schedule coming out is a pretty common one. The An easy top five question is I live in X area. We know nothing. This is common. Know nothing about fishing. What do I spend my money on? And then I ask questions, and then I lead them into the realm of what they might want to spend their money on, and then start talking a little bit about tactics. That is a very very common question I get, and it's spanned from I had people in California, and then all the way up to the Northeast coast, and you get those areas. I'm like, all right, you're surf fishing in California. I've never done that, but how much different can it be than here? Gear is gear, saltwater, saltwater. And there's a lot of coaching that happens behind the scenes with me. And it's usually a single parent, actually. And most of the times I hear, dad's not around, or, the father passed away, or I'm the grandpa that wants to reconnect, my passion, but the game's changed a little bit, kind of stuff. Those are pretty cool emails and social messages to have. And then and then hear, oh my God, we did so good. Look at the fish we caught. And just reminding them it's not that difficult. You just got to get out there.
Yeah. We've talked about, I mean, gosh, how many different episodes we've done. You know, you and I've talked about up and down throughout the whole country. And the one thing I've always found is fishing's fishing. Doesn't matter what it is. Fishing's fishing. You just hook, line, a little bit of a sinker, lock on, and go. It's beach fishing. You can do it anywhere if you get just the basics. And the big question, and we talked about it too, is you don't need, or the big statement is, you don't need a $500 rod and reel combo at all. You don't need any of that. I mean, hell, I started with a 75, like $75 combo, and I got hooked on by catching a redfish. You've seen it. I mean, what is that one thing that you tell people for that is, well, what kind of gear do I need? Where should I start?
Yeah, I usually will stick with the brands that help us, obviously, because that's the gear we're using at camps. And kind of my mantra is, if I'm going to put it in the hands of a kid to use, that means I would also use it, or believe in that brand or that product. So, I'll tell them, first of all, the biggest thing is, if you don't take care of the equipment, clean it, store it properly, most equipment, even the best of the best, isn't going to last. Like, I'm really big on care and maintenance. And then I ask them, is this just a weekend trip you're trying to take, or do you live by a body of water, or is this just a vacation that you're doing that's going to have water access? And just think about the frequency. After I figure out the frequency that they're going to fish, or they like to fish, then I ask them about, what's their price range. Give me a price range that you want to work into. There's been so many people that I've told about the Shakespeare surf rod. My first surf rod that I bought here was a Shakespeare combo. I've caught some awesome fish from the beach here, and I still have that rod, and every once in a while still makes it way out in the sand, because it was a really cheap combo, but it's indestructible. It's amazing. I love it. And it is by far the cheapest surf combo I have, but it's also had some of the best fish I've ever caught here on the southeast coast. So it's just a testament that, like, just because you have the best equipment doesn't mean that's going to give you the best fish by any means. But I'm more of a believer. I like to spend my money on reels. Don't get me wrong. I have some really, really nice custom rods, and they make a remarkable difference. But if I'm going to spend my money, I start with the reel first, and I'm a hook snob. I just have some brands of hooks.
You are.
And it's not like I've had bad luck with a certain type of hook, like, break offs or straighten outs, things like that. There's just a few brands that I really like, and I call home, and I won't deviate from those. So especially saltwater, I'll tell people, I'm like, I'm a Gamakatsu dude. Hardcore. They're expensive, but don't get me wrong. You can go to Academy Sports and buy an H2O Express line, circle hook, and it's gonna get through the fish's mouth. I just have certain things that I fish for me personally. So we talk a lot about that, like means, frequency, intention. The age of the kid also is really big. You don't want to oversize the equipment, or get it too advanced for them to where you get out there and the kid can't use it, and then you've lost them. If the kid's not doing any of the activity, and it's just the parent or the friend or the grandma or grandpa, whoever it is, that's no fun for the kid. So you got to make sure that the piece of equipment suits the capability level, certainly. So there's a lot of that goes on. Some of those conversations I'll have with people that email me or message me can go on for several weeks. But usually it turns out good. See good photos and good stories.
You're doing good things.
Yeah, and I tell them, I go, and don't get me wrong, like, you might go out there and catch nothing, but don't blame me, because it happens to me too. Like, I have plenty of trips where I don't catch fish, or I don't catch what I'm targeting. That's part of the game, but I'll tell you what, when you figure it out, all it takes is that one tug, that one landed fish, and like you're back in the game. Like, the temperature of the boat or the surf can change really quick with one fish, can it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing how that works.
The worst is when it's ice cold, and yeah, we've been there.
Yeah, right.
And,
A bunch.
I mean, in reality, that you're gonna skunk more than you're gonna win. It's just, that's fishing, and it's okay.
Yeah,
remember the other reasons that you're out there. You're out there for a little bit of family time. Maybe if you're on your own, you're out
exactly.
there for a little self healing, whatever it may be. But you went out there for a reason. It doesn't always have
Yeah,
to be to catch fish.
I did a one of those 90-second knowledge pieces. I was doing that in the spring, and we were
Love.
still they're coming back. I got a list of stuff I'm doing. Patience is probably the number one important thing to teach a kid about fishing. Is it's not results always, and these kids these days, they have access to things and they get responses quickly. That's not fishing. And I tell parents, I go, that might be one of your biggest challenge is you throw a bobber in the water and the thing doesn't go under and the kid gets upset or gets bored or just wants to quit. Do something to buy you time. Let them sit, and we've talked about this, let them sit in a chair and listen to some music or play on their phone or whatever. Because the second the rod goes off, they spring out of that chair, the phone goes down, and they're going to be on the rod. So you have to find a way to keep that interest and buy the time. Unless you're fortunate and you go to some stock pond or just some really high end area that's always on. There's a couple places like that, but the patience piece is really big, especially with the newbie kids. And when they're ready to go, I tell parents this too. Like when they've really had enough, don't force the issue. When the kid says I'm done, it's time to rock. Time to pack it up, or maybe that's a good time where like you've hidden away some good snacks or some goodies or the sugar stuff that you were hiding away for yourself and them for you know celebration snacks. Like do something. If they say they're done, don't just dig in and say no. We're here. I packed up. That'll kill it. That kills the mood quickly. That's a really good tip.
Yeah, that is. That's solid. Super solid.
And after all the prep and all the getting things together and the travel, and you're just trying to have an amazing time with your kid as a parent, you're like, I got to pack all this stuff up just to, come off the beach or whatever, just to go to, the drive through for the kid or whatever. You just got to accept it as what it is. And um, the ones that like it will grind it out with you. I've found that to be more common. If you get a kid that says, I want to go fishing, something has sparked in them that they have an interest of some kind, whether it's a family born kind of instinct or trend, that families do, or maybe a friend got them into it. If a kid says, I want to go fishing, you're probably going to be okay with keeping them out there and keeping that interest level, but just have a plan B and C in your back pocket to where if it's not one of those dynamite days.
Well put, sir. Very well put.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, because we're about to transition into the fun stuff here. So before we do that, I'm just going to do it early. And if you're new to the show, you're about to find out. Every 20 minutes, I always tell you to check your bait because, quite frankly,
Mhm.
fish are thieves, especially redfish. More so sheep's head, but
Oh
definitely
yeah.
redfish. No, all right, get that line out. Let's check it in. This bait check is being brought to you by Ninja Tackle. NinjaTackleVA.com. Great website. You can get your hands on the Ninja Dagger all the way, was it 7-footer up to the new Bomber 13.3. And that thing is lovely. Absolutely lovely. I'm not saying I'm going to have one, but I may have one pre order. But yes, good stuff. So they've got rigs, they got everything you need for that. If you're into a little bit more of the other side of things, they have Ninja Tactical. If it's any kind of accessories that you need, he might have you really well set up. So go take a look, ninjatackleva.com. Great place. Lots of good stuff. And Matt's a good person. He'll take good care of you. So 2025, man, we are coming to the end of it. When this airs, it'll be
Mhm.
January 26th. It has been a year.
Great year.
And you've crushed it, man. You did all that one. So looking back, uh, what were the biggest wins for the foundations in 2025?
So for me as the organizer and the person that's doing the behind the scenes with my family and Brandon and Caroline, it seems to be getting easier with support. So this year more so than other years, we've had people seek us out to get involved. Sometimes that's either volunteerism and sometimes donations, which is great when good sponsors come in unsolicited because they saw our page on the internet. Those make our life much easier. So Operationally, we're hitting our stride. I would say we used to say we were flying the plane, but it's still being built while while it's in the air. How does that go? Um, Building the plane while flying it or whatever. The plane has officially taken flight. We know our mission, we know our goals, we know our capabilities. The system behind this whole thing is in place. So if I say, hey, Marissa, we got to do XYZ, she's off and running. Hey, Brandon, we got to do XYZ, he's off and running. Hey, Caroline, we got to do this today, she's off running. Where early on, it was we'd bump into the wall and be like, oh, turn around, the other way. Like that didn't work. So that's been the big win for us operationally is that we're oiled up a little bit and it's running pretty smooth, which is a nice feeling. Still, with that and the capacity, it's become more work. So it's not, when we did our first year, we did 2 camps, and we are like, oh wow, that was awesome. We did so much. You do 8 events in 1 year. It's every day. Kids Can't Fish is an everyday thing for our small team, but that's okay. We like it. It's rewarding, and it's something that actually fuels me. Like I spend a lot of my free time doing this kind of stuff. I enjoy it. It's definitely something that I'm happy to do, and that I get a lot of fulfillment out personally. Plus, it connects me with my kids, so I get to do things with my family as well. Big wins for camps. We had some awesome catches. Um, I don't think we had a single camp that was like a total dud. Where in the years before, there were a couple camps that like the weather was halfway decent, but not the greatest, and like a kid didn't catch a fish. Across the board at every camp, there was great activity, and definitely a lot of excitement from the kids because we did very well. I think this was the best catching year we've had, which is exactly what we want. Like, hey, bring them, show them, hey, we know what's going on, and fake it till you make it kind of thing. But we had some really, really good catches. Um, and in general, that's overarching kind of. I think the best thing is that I think the camps this year were the best camps we've ran because it's working. We know the system, and when you know the system and you're not learning it as you go, it allows you to focus on the smaller things, which is the technical aspects of what makes it work. So we're getting to spend a lot more time with the kids versus at the camp. There have been times where I turn around, I'm like, the camp's over. Like I didn't even get to talk to every parent. Now I get to launch the camp, and I pretty much get FaceTime with pretty much everybody, which is pretty cool.
That's one of the hardest things for you that I've had to see for you is during the camp. You're up and down the beach, man. You're up and down the pier.
Mhm.
You are all in. You're not just a sit back guy. You get it done,
Mhm.
and you want to talk to everybody, and you want to hear their story. You care.
Right. The tough part about camp days is like I don't get to lock in and fish with one kid for a long period of time. I try to break it up and spend time with each kid. Now don't get me wrong. There's a couple kids that like they tug at your heartstrings or you just connect with them right away. And I'm like, oh man, I could spend the next 4 hours with you, but I got to go see the neighbor kid. And I tell the parents, hey, I'll try to come back kind of thing. Because some of these kids, man, they're just well, first of all, the things they say, these kids crack me up.
It is gold.
It is gold. And it's like you don't even have to you don't even prime them. The parents are like, "Hey, these people are here to help you. Like, listen to that guy," and like they'll go off and they tell you these stories about fishing or where, yeah, my dad broke the rod in the car and mom wasn't happy, and I was like, I've done that too. I've snapped a rod in the car door, and they just go on and on and on, and like you can tell that they're genuinely happy to be there. Um, and then when I think the parents probably tell them, you're going to get to keep this equipment. Like they're on cloud nine. They're like, this is mine. I get to keep this. I'm like, yeah, that's yours, man. Like, I'll go forth and do good with it. But just the time with the kids at each camp, even though I don't get to like fish hard with each kid, I do little micro sessions with each one of them. It's worth every single minute, hour, second spent. These kids, some of them they're cool. They're really cool. That's probably my
Yeah,
favorite part is I started doing like little mini like interviews on the sand or at the camps with these kids.
yeah,
And then,
those have
hey,
been
mom,
fun.
can I take a video with your kid and can we talk? And oh yeah, do it. Like he's great. Like they some of them are like, can I do an interview? I'm like, what do you got? Let's do it. Um, those are pretty cool because if I get like a 30-second, because I try to keep them short, if I get 30 or 60 seconds, they usually don't get any editing. I usually trim the front and the back end, so the little bit of the B-roll from the front and the back is gone, but I just basically let it roll. Like this is what a kid is saying. When I talk to them about their experience, there's no editing. So it makes for really good content for me because it's easy, but it's that's their honest opinion about the day. And I think there's a lot to be said about that. And I think there's a lot of times where parents um, don't ask the kids the questions like that, like, "Hey, what does this mean to you?" Or "What did you think about today?" Or "What's the highlight of the day?" Or "What's the worst part of the day?" Or "What's the best fishing experience you got?" And you prime them up, and they've got the answer, and these kids are usually spot on when they're talking from the kid's perspective and with it's like where are we losing sight of that thought? Because the way these kids think about the sport is the way we all started. It's where it all happened. And sometimes people lose sight of that. And I tell parents, I go, we need to go back to that mindset and that easy feeling of this sport and go back to the original roots. And I think you'll enjoy the sport a lot more by doing that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely on those. Well, let's talk about the big monster here. Let's talk about the tournament.
Yeah.
Whew, whew. They were great day, great time, great people.
Yeah.
Couple of curveballs. One that you
Couple.
launched on us there at the pre-ceremony or at the
Yeah.
captain's meeting. So let's pull it out. So overall, how did it go, and what made this year different from past events?
I think the rumor mill of what we're doing with this tournament has officially flooded the Southeast. Um,
Flooded's a good
People
word.
know that the kids can't fish. First of all, the kids can't fish running the Bulls is not just a kids tournament, although we had 85 kids compete or 84 kids compete. And that when people are like, they really have the raffles and the prizes they do, and the venues are good. Like the word of mouth has spread. We sold out 60 days in advance, which made my life remarkably easier because I could just focus on going doing venue sites and making sure that the food truck people had everything they need and um, collecting last minute things. In the past 4 years, I was doing tournament ops literally the Thursday before the event. This year we sold out 60 days in advance, and organizationally that was an absolute blessing. I can only imagine we're going to sell out 60 to 90 days in advance this year because the prize pools are going to remain the same, if not increase a little bit.
Yeah. Speaking of prize pools, you had one of the largest prize purses for the tournament ever.
Yeah.
How did you pull that off, and what partnerships or strategies made it happen?
So we set our target at 350 or 300. Sorry, 300 anglers. We thought 350 was going to be at much, so we capped it at 300. And I did the math on ratio of adult to kids, and I was like, okay, this is doable. And I was like, well, if we had to dip into the pocket a little bit and give back a little less, because we do a 60-40 payout. So 60 to the angler, 40 to the house. So Kids Can't Fish surrendered 18% of that back to the angler. So to get to the $10,000 prize pool, we gave a little bit of the money from the entry fees back to the angler. But that's okay because the sponsorships were unbelievably generous this year. Um, our cash sponsors. And that's the meat and potatoes. With our cash sponsors, that 1000% ensured that 2026 was going to be fully funded. So it was an easy yes. Um, we didn't go to 350 to err on the side of caution. We ended up having 333 because what happened was even people that volunteer for Kids Can't Fish that are like personal friends locally, they call me up and they're like, it's sold out. I'm like, yeah. Like, where's your registration? They're like, missed it. I'm like, give me your money, register now. And then, you have people that come and volunteer time with you. I can't say no. Or a sponsor says, hey, my district manager wants to fish it with his kid. I can't tell him no, right? So there were a lot of those, and then I ended up getting with the sponsored kids because we had 8 sponsored kids. We ended up getting to 333, but the prize pools went up because we hit our target goal of 300, and then we dipped in a little extra money because the sponsorships were just on top. They're amazing, and that's how we were able to do that.
It was beautiful. It was
Mhm.
amazing. And for those of you, if you haven't done this yet, it is worth it. I mean, I am so glad that I drive down for it. I love coming to these because it's just so much fun. Get to hang out with my kid, see my friends, and fish. I mean, it
We didn't even
doesn't.
tell people the amount of money that they were dealing with. We're talking $23,000 in cash.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
So please enlighten us, sir.
Yeah. So I think I forget the cash breakdown for the adults, but $10,000 was the adult, Kelly Ballard, who's going to be one of your guests, right? And her husband
Yep,
Landon, which is awesome.
Kelly. Yep, the Ballards will be on the show soon.
Female angler won the adult division, and a novice, self-admitted novice, through the help of her husband, who knows a little bit more, but they're very much at the beginning, of their fishing life and lifestyle, because they moved from Idaho, I believe, to this area. And second place was 3,000, and I think 2,000 for third, 1,000 for fourth, and maybe 500 for fifth. And then we
Yep.
juiced up the kids this year. First time they got custom rain shadow fishing rods, courtesy of Bill Batson Enterprises, and Brian Liebelt from Bandit Custom Rods. And then Kids Can Fish kicked in some of the entry fee money, were for cash prizes for the kids, which we never did before. And then we did a raffle. I forget what it was that we raffled last year, a couple things. And I said all the proceeds from these raffles are going to juice up the kids' pot. So we're going to do that again. I got a bunch of Authority reels sitting that I haven't opened. They came today. We're going to raffle off some Authority reels pretty soon because they had an awesome Black Friday sale. By the way, it's still going on. So if you're an Authority person, now's the time to get one. I don't think you're going to see 40% off on those
People,
anywhere else.
people are going to be butthurt now because when this airs in January, we're like, no, damn it, no.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
I mean,
Not sorry. I got some.
you should have got on it, people. Like seriously.
Well, hey, you know what? We'll segue into that. Since this is going to post and that sale is going to be over, because I know a couple days, it like always runs a couple days after Black Friday.
Mm.
We are going to raffle off some Penn Authorities on the Kids Can't Fish site. And if you want to help, that's those raffles. There's some of the custom rods and stuff where we've raised $1,000 in a half a day just doing an online raffle. So if you want to help from a distance, a 10, sometimes like we did a van stall, those were $20 a ticket, but I think we only sold 50 or 60 spots for that. So your odds are good. For me, I don't own a van stall, but if I put my $20 in a bucket and my name got pulled to win a van stall, I'd be pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
So the stuff we're raffling off is usually higher end stuff. So check that out. Those will be coming probably after the first of the year. They're here now. I'm going to inventory what I got. We're putting some on some of the bull red rods for next year for the kids surf camps. So we're going to play around with some Authorities on the sand because the price was just really, really good on those. So
Man, it's a good set.
but we went from running to the bulls and prize pools and raffles but the tournament, again, we're learning. And the tournament this year was easier for me to organize. It was more streamlined. It's still a ton of work. I worked on tournament stuff today for a while. The insurance is paid for, the permits are secured, the dates are locked in. I'm learning like that kind of stuff. Get done early. Like literally the next week after the tournament, I got my insurance, the permit got approved. I'm securing venue sites, and then I can just focus on, date donations and sponsorships and announcing, which we'll announce it in March. We always announce the registration in March, which is crazy. It's like 7 months in advance, and we'll have 100 people sign up in the first day.
Yeah.
It's happened the last 2 years, so I hope it's the same this year.
Well, with the tournament, I mean, a lot of people, they don't get to see you all the time on this, and because when the tournament's out there, you got the kids, you're taking care of the kids. That section, that's your sector. But behind the scenes, let's talk about that one. Tell me about the highest moment for you personally during the tournament. That one moment where you thought, Yep. This is why we do this.
Yeah, this is easy. So, and I'll even tell people like the tournament, I take a group of sponsored kids and they fish with me and they fish the Team Rain Shadow customs, the really good rods. And I tell the mom and dads or the relatives, I go, just come sit on the beach. This is your time to relax. Like I got the kids. Um, I had I had 16 rods in the water and I worked 16 rods by myself. And the one parent was like, it's like an orchestra. They're like, how do you keep it together? I'm like, it's not always easy, but I do have a system. But to me, the running of the bulls with the sponsored kids, that's my reward because I get to fish hard for 2 days with sponsored kids. And the easy top thing for me, although there's so many from the tournament, is that Wyatt got to be the repeat champion. And the big difference between Wyatt and 3 years ago was 3 years ago, Wyatt struggled with his fish. Caroline helped him. And I remember being out in the surf and looking back, and Caroline was holding the rod and helping him. And Wyatt has come a long way by coming to our camps and fishing more with his family. Wyatt did pretty much all of the work with his dad just steadying the rod just to make sure that the rod didn't, get let go of and fall in the water. And I the only thing I helped Wyatt with was when the fish hit the sand, I grabbed it and brought it up on the beach and took the hook out. So to see Wyatt, who, for those of you who don't know, Wyatt has some challenges and some disabilities, um, a lot of assistance needed there as far as like the motor function stuff. But the kid loves fishing, and his passion for it is so pure and it's so amazing. And to see Wyatt repeat, it's I can't put a price tag on it. There's it's I thought Wyatt winning the championship the second year of the tournament was wasn't gonna be able to be topped, but seeing him catch this fish again this year was pretty close because it's him and his dad. I'm watching him and his dad reel it in, and then his excitement was exactly the same as the first time. So that was easily number one, and a close number two from the tournament is wow, man, there's so many of them. The 190 some odd spot redfish. Like one guy, Mike Palucci, caught one that was like 63 inches. We're like, all right, Calcutta's gone. For those of you who don't know, our Calcutta is the redfish with the most spots. So this guy, Mike Palucci, who's a big supporter and helper of Kids Can't Fish, caught one that had 63 spots. And I was like, okay, that's done. Calcutta's over. Like 30 minutes later, one of our other competitors caught one that was just, I think he said it was 104, 102 by his count. But when we recounted, it was like 90, 90 plus.
Still
Like,
ridiculous.
okay. Like,
It was still a ton.
I was like, are you sure that's not the same fish? We just counted wrong the first time. That was pretty cool. And then Abby, the girl that fished with me, caught her first redfish. And I told her secretly, I'm like, Abby, I'm gonna go wade way out. And that water gets deep and that water gets swift. And I don't encourage that. Now I fish these beaches a lot, so I know my terrain and my comfort level is a little different. And I mean, I put a hero cast on this thing. I'm in the shipping channel and it's way out there. I walk the rod back and I go, Abby, I really want you to catch a redfish. And then like the line's soaking for 30 or 40 minutes. And she's like, I got one. I look over and Abby's rod's going off and she reeled it in. I go, I'm so happy that happened.
Yeah.
um, but Abby caught her first surf redfish. And Abby, this girl, man, she came to our bull redfish camp in September and she caught a stingray that's like the size of a dinner table. And this girl worked this stingray masterfully. She did her redfish because it was running her up the beach because it was so far out. She's amazing. I launched my boat a couple weeks ago. First time I went out on my new boat, and I come back into this little launch. It's a really small Village Creek landing on St. Simon's, very thin water. I come in and I'm like, Abby's on the dock throwing a cast net. Like this girl's all in, super impressive. But to see her catch her first bull redfish was another cool one. But then I think about on the adult side, having a lady angler win the tournament is amazing. So I can't wait to hear Kelly and Landon's episode. The first time we've ever had a lady angler win the whole thing, which I think is a great thing for the sport. And certainly a good thing for the young girls that were fishing the tournament, that they can say, okay, yeah, it's not just the advanced, because we have a lot of advanced anglers out there, but I found more often than not, our surf anglers that are like hardcore, really good, know what they're doing. Usually, if a few of them find themselves on the leaderboard, but usually whoever wins it is somebody unsuspecting, which I think is pretty cool about our tournament. So I can't wait to hear Kelly's episode.
It's funny too that you bring that up because guys like Seth or oh gosh, most of the St. Simon's crew. I mean, I talk to so many of them all the time. They're there to fish, but you go out there and talk to them, they're talking to the people that haven't fished. They're the
Yeah,
ones coaching. They're in
right.
they're in teach mode, and they're like, "Oh, well," and it's like, "Dude, don't even try it. You were having more fun having a conversation teaching them how to fish than you are worried about
Yeah.
your line. You didn't even look at your rod."
And that's something about our tournament that I think also speaks to the people that attend. Thank goodness we've had no shenanigans. There's been no beach disagreements. There's been nothing midday that's called me away from the kids. Everything runs smooth. Now there's things we got to iron out and always, tinking and changing. This year I learned the code word, which we did a code word of the day. To me was like two-factor authentication. Like you have an angler number, but then you got to say the code word. You don't need the code word. On one of the video on Wyatt's catch, which is the guy that runs the tournament, I didn't even say the code word, but we got Wyatt's angler number on the video. And isn't that all that matters? Is that I know the angler number is different from day one to day two. So the code word confused things a little bit. And we're going to change a little bit of the verbiage on some of the rules and make it a little more easy on the angler, especially in that moment when you're excited. The things you're not thinking about a code word.
No.
Your hands in the video, I see your number, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So we've made some changes, but the anglers are so kind to us and are so complimentary of the event, and it's because they know what they're fishing for. There's big money, but they know they're there to support the cause, which I think makes our tournament a little different than some of these other tournaments that I've seen videos on YouTube or social media where there's like these huge outbursts and people not enjoying it. And I'm like, if our tournament ever got to that, I'd just stop doing it.
Yeah.
Um, Everyone comes in and like I heard so many times like the people right next to us are now friends. I've never knew them. Like we're gonna connect and we're gonna camp next year together for the tournament. I was like, that's to me stuff that you don't have price tags on that stuff. And there's a lot of stories like that.
Yeah, I mean, gosh. How many I'm trying to think of what's the best way for this one. Like Dylan. Love Dylan. Had him on the
Mhm.
show, met him through there, talk to him every now and again. Absolutely love him as here. Talk to them all the time. Any other time, they're in Georgia. Where am I gonna see them? But we still chat.
Right.
Yeah. Stay rank. Oh boy. Kid's riding bulls now. Fish with them 1 year, and I'm already like, "What are you doing? Where is he
He
at?"
caught a redfish this year.
He did. He caught a
Yeah.
very good one.
The which is crazy. His he's always like so I said at the awards banquet, this kid literally rode a live bull like earlier in the week, and now he
Yep.
caught a bull redfish. I go, that's not made up. The kid's a bull rider. Um, Clayton he's another kid that met him at one of our camps, and now we see he shows up at a lot of different things. He posted a photo on the kid of the year. Now I'm friends with his mom on Facebook too. He's been hammering some big bass lately. I'm talking
Yeah.
like 8 9 pounders, and I'm like, you're getting pretty good at AI, bud. That's the post I did. Wow. Uh, but it just goes to show, like, he's a kid, but he's fishing at such a high level, and that was fostered through his parents supporting his interest to do these outdoor activities. Like, I'm sure he's got his electronics in his kid time, but I can tell you what, anytime I see his mom's feed come up, they're fishing, they're hunting, they're camping, they're bull riding. And to me, those type of quality time with your family is is what this is about. So yeah, the stay ranked kid, Clayton, he had a really good year, really good year. Proud of that kid. It's awesome kid.
He's so much fun. All right. It's been 20 more minutes. It's 45 in. So we're going to transition to the next one. We warned you people that these conversations will happen like this for me and Tom. We're on track though. So yeah, it's time for another bait check. We need to get that line back in, make sure you're good to go, because hey, you don't want to miss that one, because you can't fish on credit. Never works. Like I said, bring that line in, make sure you got good bait. If it has already off there, throw it back on. If you haven't caught a fish yet on what you're using, change it up. Sometimes the buffet is just not what they're looking for. They may want something special. So always bring more bait. This bait check's being brought to you by DS Custom Tackle. That's right, Delaware. They got a lot of great things in there of rigs, floats, everything. If you need it, it's a one-stop shop. If you are looking to become a maker or you want to get into selling on those pieces, have a conversation with them. That's something that they can do. They also got the old Pomp It Ain't Easy. That's right. They got that whole apparel line. Lots of good things on there from the DS Custom Tackle team. Go take a look, dscustomtackle.com. Great stuff. All right, so we've nailed into some of those ones. I'm going to go ahead and skip that one piece there, but let's talk about, geez, what was probably the one where you were like, oh my gosh, what was the low for you for this tournament?
For the tournament?
What's the tournament? Because I know that there weren't many for the year for you. You only had a couple.
Yeah, and I don't care sharing this. The awards banquet, we didn't get the turnout that we wanted there. Quite frankly, that ended up being a loss for us as far as like the rental and some of the service fees. We took a loss on the awards banquet, and I surveyed the anglers, and I got feedback, and the feedback makes a lot of sense. One of the common responses was I didn't win anything, so I didn't go. Okay, I get that. Number two common response was I fished really hard for 2 days straight. I was tired. And then a lot of people were like, we traveled from Virginia, we headed home, traveled from West Virginia, headed home. A lot of people that headed home. So I need to rethink how we do the awards banquet, because Village Creek Landing, where we hosted, is one of my favorite places ever. As a matter of fact, I can't even believe I'm going to repeat this, but Caroline is like, one day when I get married, that's where I want it to happen. I'm like, oh my God.
Whoa.
Like,
slow down, kid.
Right? But it's that kind of place. It's a wedding venue. It's
beautiful.
high end. But I'm like, I looked at her. I was like, what? Get out of here. Like, we're not talking about that right now. But it's a magical place. It's a beautiful venue. But I'm going to look into other options, and who knows, maybe we'll go back to Village Creek Landing. I think the biggest letdown for me was that the banquet is where I get to kind of somewhat relax and enjoy and hear stories and connect. And we just didn't get the attendance we wanted. We still accomplished our goals for the tournament and some, like, easily, but I would have liked to see some more people. But I get it. Like, I guarantee you I spent 30 hours on the sand in 2 days, maybe more. I haven't even done the math.
Easily.
Like, so 12-hour fishing days. Yeah, 30 plus hours on the sand, and I'm running the thing. But I can tell you, if I was just competing and I spent that kind of time, yeah, Tommy likes to sleep too. So I get that. So we gotta do something different there. That was probably my biggest letdown, is the awards banquet. I wanted to I gotta do something different that makes more sense.
It's funny you talk about that as a low point, and I think about me and Julie. Damn you, Julie.
Oh my God. Oh, your battle is insane.
I wanted it.
Clearly, like, I look at the silent auction. I think it was a kids can fish bucket, and
No, it was the cooler. It was the cooler.
Oh, the cooler. The mystery, was it mystery cooler?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we take like a cooler of some kind, usually a donated cooler, and we just stuff it with all kinds of things, gift cards, fishing stuff. Um, and usually stuff you have, Brian. Like, you and Julie usually have these things. And I look at the sheet and I'm like, this cooler is at $1,200. I'm like, the cooler is at $1,500. I mean, you two are battling each other. And like, I think there was like, stop. you will lose or something was
She
written,
wrote it.
like basically drawing a line in the sand. And I think you even were like, no, my next bid is whatever. And it that's not expected, certainly appreciated. But yeah, you two went bananas on that silent auction.
But
And
it's not just what the thing, and somebody had said something else to us. They were like, "Why are you guys doing this? You guys are friends." And we're like, "Yeah, it's two-part. One, yeah, we want the things. And do we have what's in them? Probably. But everything that goes for that auction, everything that's done at those events goes back to the organization. It helps fund a camp. It helps something. It helps a kid get a rod.
yeah,
And I mean, yes, right now I'm fortunate. I've got a decent job that is letting me have some money to be able to float a little. I mean, I know a couple years ago, I sure was coming in on fumes. There was no bidding, but it was like, okay, so we can do this. If I get some cool stuff, I get some cool stuff, and what really matters is there's going to be a kid that's able to go fish this year because we did this. So Julie and I, yeah, we who wanted it more. She made her point very, very clear. So I had to win a bucket, but in the end of it, that's really what we were talking about. It really would came back to it's about the kids. It's we didn't really think about the other stuff. It was about getting
that
in the kid.
that generosity when you see, and obviously we're friends and we know each other, and I can look at you and be like, what are you doing? Like, you're
You did.
ridiculous.
You
It's
did.
when, yeah, because I look at it, I'm like, this is, I think I even asked, like, are you joking? Like, you two, and they're like, no, this is real. And I was like, you, whatever. They're like, keep doing your thing. But I like when it's somebody that we don't know, and usually what it is they when they win, they're like, we came to the camp and we just had such a great time, and we want to support, or we've seen you do this and we haven't attended anything and we want to help. The generosity that we're seeing across the board, from internal people that become friends now, to complete strangers, is it's unbelievable. It's reassuring that, like, I could click on the 10 o'clock news today and be pretty depressed in about 3 seconds on what I hear, but the people that come to our events and the people that are supporting us are the type of people I want to surround myself with, and the type of people I want my kids to be around. Just genuinely good-hearted, kind people that really are teaching their own families the way that we want our kids to live their lives. And I keep going into this. Like, another benefit is I've made some awesome friends through the charity, like life friends, by people that just stumbled into a camp, and now they're people that I like call, or I see them post stuff, and I was like, oh, that's like a lot of the feed. I'm like, oh, good to see you. Why? Good to see you, Lane. Good, and it's like, because now I know their kids because I see them a couple times a year. That's a really big plus for me, is that it's hard as an adult to make new friends, but this little foundation we got going, I've made some really, really solid friends as an older kid, right?
Yeah, we don't grow up. We don't do that. It's not our thing.
It gets worse in a lot of ways, I think, for me. I know the right buttons to push, at least in my house. Like, um, my wife and I had a conversation about a trolling motor I want today,
Oh no.
and I was coming at all angles, and I was pushing the buttons pretty hard.
Is she within earshot?
No,
Oh,
because
good.
I
You're
would have
safe.
got yelled at.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're safe. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw you looking. I'm
Um,
like, hi, Marissa.
and then it was awesome is like, Caroline, because she's like, yeah, like, you need that. Like, it's the trolling motor I want. It's the Quest auto deploy brushless, like, top of the line.
Ooh, nice and
Nice. Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Marissa's, she lets me. I have a long leash. She's great to me. But then she, like, Caroline's like on team dad here, and then Marissa got right on Caroline. I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, keep throwing those daggers at her, because I'm watching them go back and forth. Um, but I'm doing it from that kid perspective because I'm just enjoying the banter, right?
Oh, that's so
Um,
perfect.
all around a trolling motor that I'm gonna
Yeah.
get some way, somehow,
One way. It's gonna happen.
right?
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Santa Claus is probably gonna have to visit first, but
It
I
happens.
will find I will find a way.
Well, you talked about this, and we're lead into it. So you've got some amazing volunteers. You've had it
Oh yeah,
for a lot of the camps and so many of the other pieces. There's a
yeah.
lot more to this structure than just the camps. What stood out about the volunteer support for 2025? And are there any stories that you're like, "Pooh, easy"?
Okay, so the easy story is kids that were repeat customers to the camps that came because they wanted to do the fishing are now volunteering. The mom would be like, "Hey, is it okay if RJ comes or Skylar comes? They just want to help." Or a kid that Caroline goes to school with, his name's Aaron. His dad helps, and Aaron has attended camps, but now Aaron just like, I want to help with the kids. So we've morphed into where these are still kids. These are kids that are 11, 12, 13, some a little younger. Sam Silverstein and Caroline were always like the kid, main helpers locally. Now we got a crew of kids that show up, and I look and I'm like, all right, there with that one, there with that one. I'm like, this is cool. Like kids teaching kids. And the great part about that is, because I see this with me and Caroline a lot, if I'm working with a kid at a camp and it might not be registering or it's not clicking, I'll be like, Caroline, come on over here. And Caroline will talk to the kid. And when you speak that kid language, it's like, up, they're good to go because it's just a different way of saying things. I don't run into that often, but when I do, I'm usually calling for Caroline or Graham, my son Graham, pretty quick. So that is probably one of my favorite parts about the camps is we have a pretty solid batch of kid volunteers now, which is amazing. That's pretty cool.
That's full circle, man.
Yeah.
It's so
And
much fun.
I imagine in 2026 there'll be a couple newbies that are in the same, hey, I've been to a couple camps. Can I just come and help? And it's an easy yes, like absolutely. Like, yeah. Then their parents are like, we don't want the gear. It's not about the gear. We just want to hang out. Yeah.
It becomes that very quickly. It really does. People don't realize that, but it
And
really
I
does
wrote
become
down
that.
our volunteer hours because this is one. So this year alone, we had literally on the dot, we had 500 volunteers because I
Nice.
keep track on an Excel sheet every camp, all the analytics, and 758 hours of volunteerism just this year alone. Which that's I can't do these things without volunteers. Like it's easy if me and Brandon, Marissa, Caroline show up to an event, we can make it happen. We've done it before, but when I tell Seth and the local crew, hey, the shark camp is going to be on June whatever, I'll text it. And then next thing you know, there's a text group and like, all right, we're in, we're in, we're in. I'm like, that's 12 people that have already locked into it. And this year at the shark camp, I um I roll up with the trailer and they're already at the beach. And I park the trailer, unlock the trailer, and it's just like the assembly line. The equipment's going out, and we set up pretty quick. Back in the day, it was not very quick, not very quick. So that's been a blessing. Setting up Pensacola this year, oh, that was a chore. And then I'm in the parking lot across from what's the beach access over there?
Oh gosh. It's the trail. Oh my, I can't even remember the name of it, but yeah, I know where you're talking about.
Anyway, so there's a big parking lot across the street that it's just easier for me to park there. And this guy pulls in, and you know who this guy is, Mike Rowe, right?
Yeah, love Mike.
And he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I told him. He goes, "I'm pre-fishing for the Pompano tournament that's next week. I know this person from Fish Bites and this person." I was like, "Yep, friend of mine. Yep, friend of mine." He goes, "You need help moving this stuff?" I was like, "I do." And he just loaded up, and he made like 3 runs with me. And next thing you know, I see him at the Fish Bites, 25th anniversary, and he actually came down and helped with the kids at the camp. And you know, that kind of thing is amazing. Like I had no idea who that guy was, and he knew you, and he knew um, Brent and Julie, and knew the Fish Bites crew and all our friends. And he's like, "Yep, let me park the truck." And he's like, "I'll help you out." And he 3 big loads and it was a walk, like across the street,
Yeah, down
past
the
the
beach a little
Coast
bit.
Guard station or whatever that is, the lifeguard station, and then it's a hike. And if he wanted to stop in, me and Marissa and the kids had quite a bit of work to do. Yeah. So stuff like that, those are cool stories that are not kid related, but it just shows that that guy looked at our trailer. He's like, "Yep, I believe in what you guys are doing." And he's like, "My day's shot now," because he didn't pre-fish. Like his morning was helping us set up, which he didn't need to do, which is pretty cool. So, Mike, I don't know if you'll see this. Thank you for that. I think I've told you that a couple times, but thanks.
He called me.
Did he?
Hey, I was like, really? You got to hang out? He's like, yeah, it was awesome. I was like, yeah, you're a good dude. He's like, it was totally worth it. It was the best.
Yeah.
It was so good. He loved it. He loved every second of it. He was not sad. He was really
So
happy.
that camp also threw me probably the biggest challenge I've ever had.
What was it this year?
Weather.
Yeah, you did.
So
Yeah,
we travel 6.5 hours from Georgia to Pensacola. And I was like, well, we're making this far of a ride. We should double dip. So I was like, we're going to do surf fishing on Saturday, and then I'm going to do a cast net camp on Sunday. And I told the parents early on, I was like, look, if we have a bad weather event, Sunday becomes the fishing day and the cast net camp gets canceled. The weather model was crazy. Me and you were actually talking.
yeah.
You're weather guru more than me, and you're like, oh, I don't know. I think you're gonna have a window between 1 and 3, but that's not enough to surf fish. And the surf was rough on Saturday. Like I went out early in the morning, and it's like, like there's some guys who are like, yeah, I'll fish that, but it would not have been safe for kids. So that's like a no brainer. Call it. But then we went on the bay side across the street, and I'm looking at the same wind, and I go on the bay side, and it's slick and clean. I'm like, ooh, we could do the cast net camp today. And I messaged, I create a group me with all the parents for each camp. And I was like, if I switch the cast net camp to today at 1 o'clock, and we didn't do it on Sunday because that's going to be the surf camp, the Sunday weather was good. I was like, can you make it? Yes, 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 yes. And I call Marissa, I'm like, let's roll. We got to set up this cast net camp because we're doing it on the fly. And we had 50 kids at that cast net camp and gave them like 2 hours notice. So again, that just shows me that like the parents are, you know what? That was, excuse me, I got the story completely wrong. It was Friday night.
I was gonna say, wasn't that an earlier day?
It was Friday because it was school. I asked them what time does school get out? And I was like, all right, we can do it from 6 to 8 or something like that. And same thing. They were all like, yep, yep. And I'm like, oh, school, these kids are going to have sports or they got family stuff. Most of them showed. And then we did the surf one, I think on Sunday. We missed Saturday and did Sunday or something like that. But again, what that was like in my civil service background, all hazards management. So I was like incident commander, like moving resources, committing things here, hoping that it's Brevard County, right? That Brevard County is cool with the move that I didn't like.
Okaloosa.
No. Okaloosa. Brevard South, isn't it? I don't even know.
It might be a Scambia. I think it's a Scambia.
It is. It's a Scambia. Thank you. A Scambia. So it's like, okay, they gave me okay to do this day, but then the next day they don't know we're here, and it all worked. But God, the organization and the group thread and the questions and the can I bring my neighbor? Is it okay? And I got 2 more kids instead of just one, and I'm like, just bring them. We're gonna figure it out. It was mayhem until the kids started showing up at the camp and I didn't have to worry about the electronic. That was the first major weather curveball I've had for a camp because we traveled so far. And to me, if we would have left Pensacola and didn't run our camps, it's a lot of investment, the time, the travel, the Airbnb, like the foundation pays for that. And to me, I'm like, if we're spending this kind of money to put this camp on, we got to find a way to make it happen. And the weather window for the cast net camp was awesome. And then when the camp was over, downpour. So you were my ace in the hole because you're like, there's a window and it's this time. And I'm like, they got school. They're like, no. And I think you were like, hey, I know somebody in the school district. And like, nope, they're done at 3:15 or whatever it was. You know, they can get there. And it worked, but it was not easy.
Scrolling with your finger on that, going maybe. Oh, now, yep, okay, there. Yeah, trying to play that one, not fun for the panhandle, not even.
And I underplay here Julie from Real Coastal. Julie was pretty much my shadow for 3 days. Like I know I gave big props to Mike, but Julie did not go on a very, very cool personal trip to come to my camps. And when she told me after the camp, I'm like, you're insane. Like it was like the Virgin Islands or something. She's like, nope. She's like, I wanted to be there for the kids. That's the type of people when you see real coastal, that's what fishing means to that person. Like she had a trip to the Virgin Islands that she could have went on. And she's like, no, no, no. She's like, I'm doing the kids can't fish thing because I want to do that. That's pretty cool.
She's good people.
Yeah, she
They
is.
both are. I mean, I love everything about Brent and Julie. I love hanging out with them. And I was actually talking to her the other day. It's funny you bring that
Yeah.
up. We were reminiscing about the tournament and trying to figure out the next fun adventures that are coming up. So it's always good. All right, we you and I, it never fails. Ever, never, ever fails. Make this one easy then. So let's talk about the why. Your passion for this time for all this is very, very apparent, and you've always put it so far out there, and you really can see it. What fuels you the most personally going into yet 2026?
Like I think I've just accepted that this is supposed to be. I think for some reason, I still remember my first fishing memory. Like I remember when my dad gave me my first fishing pole. I was asleep and he came in and he was late from work because my dad worked a lot to support the family. And I remember my mom and dad having a conversation about why he was late. And he's like, "But I got Tom the fishing rod," and I sprung out of my bed. I was like, "What?" And it was one of those Snoopy fishing, combos with the little tiny yellow fish, the casting fish, the casting dummy to practice. Um, so I think in a weird way, this thing just was meant to be. Like Caroline's my little fishing buddy from the second she could walk. She was like my little shadow, and Graham's the same way. I think it was just meant to be. But what fuels me is those little conversations with those kids. A reel will come out here next week. I'm scrolling on Pensacola Beach and kids are like wanting to see fish pictures, right? Show me your best fish and show me this. And I had pictures with Santa Claus from last year at Merry Fishmas event. And this girl, her name's Grayton, she goes, "You know Santa Claus?" And I was like, "He comes to our Merry Fishmas event every year." And she's like, "You know him? Can you tell him that I want this and this and this?" And I was like, "Why don't we do this? Hey mom, can I record a message with Grayton about what she wants from Santa? Because I'll see him." And she's like, "Yeah, go ahead." It is solid gold. And it was all from just showing her fishing pictures. Like, look, I caught this one last week, and I caught this one here, and then I was like, "Oh, that's my wife wearing funny sunglasses." And I go, "Yep, yep." It's just scrolling through. She's like, "That's Santa. You know Santa." That I just it was awesome. And she's gonna get hopefully a special message from Santa Claus because we're gonna see him next Saturday.
Ah, very
Yeah, which I
nice.
know that we're gonna post in January, so you'll see the
You'll
fun
see
that
the
we
video.
have. Merry Fishmas event that's happening next weekend is our way we end the season. I got delivery today of 450 rods from the North Pole that are sitting in my garage, so we can get them over there for Santa next weekend. My garage is becoming a problem.
It's been a problem, but now you've identified that it is a problem.
So,
Every year, Marissa says the same thing to me. Like, "Oh, cool, I get my garage back." And every year I say, "For today."
yeah. So that's another thing. Organizationally, I'm trying to find a off-site facility, storage option, something. I still like to have things here because the kids will go to bed and I'll tinker and spool reels or whatever. Um, but we're growing at a rate that I can't keep up with the warehouse. And I'm not gonna say it now, but the sponsor we have for 2026 for the Panhandle is going to be pretty good.
Yes, it is.
Um,
Yes, it is.
we made a connection with a brand, and it's I think we're going to develop a really really cool relationship. I think we've cracked. I don't want to say the code, but I think we've proven I think we're proving to people that what we're doing is worthy of their attention and time. And 2026, we're going to have some pretty cool stuff coming out.
We'll bring this one in here. We'll wrap it up here with the last couple questions then for speaking of 2026 and the future of this. So if you could challenge the listeners to take one action after this episode, whether donating, volunteering, or spreading the word, what would it be?
All right. So unselfishly, being about the kids here, just take the leap of faith. If your kid wants to go fishing and you're new to the hobby or you know nothing about it, you have local resources. Call your local bait shops. They want to sell you tackle and they're going to lead you in the right direction. Because if you go and catch fish, you're going to go back to their shop. If you don't have that resource, message me, message Demo. We have people in our network that will help you. Just like I said earlier, get a lot of emails. So if you have that kid that wants you to take them to the local municipal pond or stream or whatever it is, go. And even if you don't catch anything, just see the experience. So you have to try something different. And we have so many success stories with the Kids Can Fish camps. They're numerous now of families that like we've never fished before, and now we're a fishing family. So you have to take the advice of people like us that'll help you like navigate the confusion of this thing that we do. But it's really not that difficult. It's as simple as find a good spot and get the line in the water, and usually good things can happen. So um, don't be intimidated and just take the kid, take them out. That's my best piece of advice to give anyone that's watching this. And you don't have to go at it alone. Call for help. Call Kids Can Fish. Email Demo. I even know if you message Julie from Real Coastal, like we got a slew of people across the United States, pretty much every state. I think we could say we know somebody pretty much in every state that knows something about fishing in those states. I think that's a fair assumption. We can make that happen. Yeah. So if you're in that boat, we got you covered from the extended, kind of like the help desk. Let us be the help desk. For Kids Can Fish, the sponsorships that find us without us seeking, like, don't get me wrong, there are some brands that I am very interested in. As a matter of fact, right now I've opened some dialogues with NLBN. Granted, they're very entry level. And the reason I'm interested in NLBN is one, I fished one of their lures for the first time last year in Melbourne. And I was like, okay, this is a cool bait. But the kids are locked in on that brand. Like the kids love NLBN. I see all these little kids wearing their hats and wearing their stuff. And you go to Academy and they got their stuff. I'm like, what is this brand is rocking it with the kids? So I told him, I'm like, look, I'd like to think Kids Can Fish is one of the more known youth programs in the United States now, doing pretty cool stuff. We need a partner somehow. So if you have the ability to contribute or donate, obviously cash helps us most because the gear, we're spending over $10,000 in surf rods this year. That's guaranteed going to happen. It costs money to put on these camps, and the more cushion we have, the more we can do, the more we can travel and meet new people and work in different communities. So if you have that ability, reach out to Kids Can Fish. That helps us immensely. I will self-admit, running raffles is not fun, but right now it's necessary. Um, especially as the operational costs are exceeded. So if I go into, I need to rent a facility for storage because we have so much stuff. That ultimately would take away from camps and the amount of kids we can connect with. But if the sponsorships keep coming in and those overhead costs get absorbed by charitable contributions, we can continue the frequency of what we're doing. And we've done 41 events in 5.5 years. That's just a little
smidge.
So, and I count running a Bulls. Like I throw that event in there because it's an event. We sponsor some kids, but yeah, 41 events. It's no longer a oh, I'm just going to work on this a little bit. It's an everyday labor of love, and the people that are helping us, I can't thank you enough. It's why you're seeing the frequency and our commitment to doing it really well is because of the people that are helping and the volunteers, like we said. So take the leap of faith, take the kid fishing, and if you can contribute anyway, we still can use that help immensely.
Speaking of contributions and help, it is not just it's not just local companies and tackle shops. There's a
Mm.
lot of non-fishing businesses too that can get involved. And one of the
Right,
biggest sponsor is a non-fishing business.
right. Yeah. So Cornerstone First Mortgage on St. Simon's Island is my largest sponsor easily. And Leighton Johnson grew up in an outdoors type family. And that's where, if he has the ability to contribute, he wants it to go to something that he believes in. So our mortgage company is our largest contributor. Restaurants. We have a couple restaurants that help us. In the Halyards Restaurant Group, the Sea Island Forge, which is an ironworks company that does they do a lot of custom things, but they make these really fancy kettles. They don't make anything fishing related. They just believe in getting kids outdoors. Their big thing is bonding by a campfire and bonding in outdoor over a plate of food. But there's nothing better than catching that food and cooking it on the grill the day of. Like, I've been there. I've had that experience with my dad, and I those are core memories. So yes, you don't have to be a fishing company um, to contribute. You can be. We have a mobile home company, a trailer that does these trailers, the higher end trailers, Clayton Homes. So a lot of different brands, a lot of different companies that are helping us. So if you're in that position, and we're nonprofit, so everything's a tax exemption for us and a write off for your companies, and we have the forms and the documents to make that happen if you have that capability.
And it's about the kids. That's
Yeah,
what it is. Everything that a sponsorship does puts a rod in a kid's hand and gets them an
yeah.
experience or a cast net for them to get out there with the family. It's
We've
that's
done it's we did 750 kids this year after next week. 750 kids this year alone, and we're creeping on the 2,000 kid mark, and we've given over 1,500 fishing rod combos away. So the analytics I keep always humor me because it keeps getting bigger every year. The number keeps going up, and I'm wondering, like, what's the bandwidth? I don't know what the bandwidth is yet.
it's not there yet. It's not done. It's still
No,
still on the upward peak.
I think so. We'll find it. To me, bandwidth is as long as I'm still having fun with it. When
I'm
not
glad.
when I'm not having fun with it anymore, then I know I've taken it to a level that I'm creeping on a dangerous area. So Marissa's really good at reining that in sometimes. She's like, she told me this last week. She's like, "Do I just need to buy you a bed for the garage?"
No.
I'm out, organizing gear that's coming in, and I mean, we just purchased 36,000 yards of braided line
Ooh,
that'll
Jesus.
that'll go on reels this year. And I do all the spooling in my garage, and I like to do it December, January, February because the garage temperature is actually enjoyable. I don't want to be spooling reels in June.
No, that's not
So,
it's not a happy.
Beyond Braid is very kind to us and just ordered 36,000 yards of braided line, and that's not even for the Pompano camps yet because I do smaller diameter braid. So I said, hey, I'm gonna order some more braid later. So it'll end up being 45, 48,000 yards of braid this year, which is insane.
That is a lot of brain.
Which that's another donation. The Triangle Sport line winders, we're doing so much line spooling.
Yeah.
They gave us a second machine.
Oh, did they? You needed it. You really did.
So instead of Brandon coming to my house and spooling with me, and it's like, I'll do three, you do three, and we flip flop. Brandon's going to get a box of 50 reels, and I'm going to get, and we're going to be able to tag team it. So I told him, I go, that's an efficiency gift. You made my life easier by that donation, by the Triangle Sport line winder. Those things are so helpful to me. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, final question for you here, and then we'll get you going. What's one thing you want people to understand about Kids Can Fish that they might not realize until they get involved?
Ooh, that's such a good question that they might not realize until they get involved. When you see kids being kids, my kids play travel sports. And when I go to a baseball field, softball field, a wrestling match, and I see these kids interacting, it's not like at one of our fishing camps. Our fishing camps take me back to the 80s. Like it really, it makes me feel like that's exactly how it was when I was a kid. And to get that feeling is pretty special. Like as we get older and like, my dad's turning 75. My mom passed away a couple years ago. I'm thinking more about those memories as I get older and older. We get to duplicate that for these parents to just go to a body of water and live for a couple hours like we did as kids is pretty magical. You can see a reel on Instagram and you can see a photo of a kid, Nolan, holding a redfish with 60 spots on it. But when his mother posted literally today, because we're doing the Kid of the Year contest, which will be over by the time this posts, they moved from Ohio, OH, by the way, go Buckeyes. And I think the national championship game will be a couple days after this airs. I hope they're there.
It very well will be. And
I think it's
Ohio
the
will
18th or
be
the
in there
19th.
more than likely.
But anyways, this family moved from Ohio to Georgia, and I'm gonna paraphrase the mom's comment today, and she said, "The Kids Can Fish Foundation has been the best blessing to our family since we moved here." I I, I don't really, other than thank you so much. Um, that's why. That's the why. We can end on that. That's the why.
I love it. Well, it's always good having you on. I am excited to
You
see what
too.
2026 brings. I know we'll be chatting again. We got plenty more to go with, and
I'm
if
so glad you're back.
yeah,
So
well,
glad.
I'm not going away this time. I am cemented back in. Whether it's my
Good.
voice alone or guess, it's this ain't going away. I
I love
can't.
it. I'm glad for that, and I know your viewers are. We were razzing you pretty hard on the social sites.
You guys were. It was
I was about
deserved.
I was about to get. I want to say I was about to get creative, not ugly. I was about to get real creative. If you didn't come back on.
Oh, I was waiting. I could see the text message was salty. Those were fun ones too. But yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be back. It's good to be doing this. Even Jen was like, "You seem happier." I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm not sad."
yeah.
So it's
So
good.
thank you for having me, and look forward to a successful year for the Finding Demo podcast too.
Yeah, thanks, brother. All right, stay in the back for a minute. I'm gonna get this thing closed out.
All right,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode. As I've told you so many times through so many episodes, Kids Can Fish does great things. And if this episode isn't proof, go back and listen to the last one, and then the one before that, and then the one before that. There's a reason that I constantly bring it up. They're the next generation of fishermen, anglers, outdoors, all of that. And you get to have that moment with them with a fishing rod in hand or a cast net. This is another chance for you to get that time with them. So go take a look, kidscanfish.net. Take a look at all the great things that they're doing. If there's a camp in your area, sign up. If you can volunteer, volunteer. And if you can donate, by all means, donate. Because like I said, every donation puts a rod in a kid's hand or a cast net. You've been listening to Finding Demo Surf Fishing. Thanks for being here. We will see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself. I'm out of here.